This is the 2025 Brewtubers Online Brewers Club Malt Experiment, Amber Ale. Thanks to our sponsors. 5 Star Chemicals. Check out their new online straight-to-consumer homebrew shop where you can buy everything from Star San and line cleaner to the new liquid PBW that can be used at temperatures as low as 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Check out their online store at 5starchemicals.com/home-brewing. Beer and Wine Hobby Homebrew Supply Store. A local homebrew shop in Danvers, Massachusetts. Order any malt they offer in any quantity you want, and if you order before 11 a.m., they'll package your items and ship out the very same day. Visit the store at www.beer-wine.com. Let's get tasting.
Cheers and welcome to Irondale Brewing. This is experiment beer number 2 review. I decided to just go ahead and get mine out of the way. So this is I called it Amber in Amber because I used Amber Malt. And Amber Malt is from Simpson's, and the way they describe it is it'll add toasty, biscuity flavors and a reddish brown hue to beers. Not intended for use as a base malt. They recommend 5 to 20%. What I decided to go with, and we'll see how it worked out, is to get the SRM kind of in the middle of the range for an amber between 10 and 17. I added enough amber malt to get the color dead center at about, well, it's 13 and a half, I think, or 14. And given that Simpson's recommends between 5 and 20% of the grain bill could be amber malt, it wound up being 12.5%. So it's kind of, again, in the middle. It's probably well, we'll see. I don't want to. I've had this beer before, obviously, but I don't want to prejudice my review too much. So how that worked out then with the base recipe is it turned out to be 68.2% of the 2-row. 8.6% Caramel 60, 8.6% Munich, 2% Victory, same hops we talked about before. I'll put all this stuff on the screen. My OG was 1052, final gravity of 1013, ABV of 5.1. And I do want to, so in the review of Kurt's beer, my first one, I said I'd like to have more hops. And Kurt made a very great comment in the video that the idea is the hops, when they came up with the recipe, the IBUs were low so that we could really focus on the malt. So moving forward, I'm going to try to, that's a great reminder, thanks for that, Kurt. So moving forward, I'm going to try to focus on what the malt character is and what these specialty malts bring to the table for these amber ales, and not focus so much on do I like it as an amber ale, because that's not the point of the experiment. That said, Kurt's beer was great. We'll see how I like mine. I haven't had it in a while, and I got rid of the keg a while ago, so this is a can. I don't know how well this will come out, but that's my label for it. I basically gave you the specs, but anyway, so let's just crack this thing open and see what happens with amber malt in an amber ale. I will say also on the Simpsons website, they say amber malt is the beer styles they list that it's useful in are California Common. Let's see if I can remember these. Dark lager, stouts even. They did not list amber ale for amber malt, which is kind of interesting, but hey, I figured we'd give it a try. It was a malt that nobody had decided to use by the time I was signed up for the experiment, so we'll see. Okay, that's a good sign. Some good carbonation. I got my pour cam on the other side, so hopefully this will come out okay. It's kind of hard to tell how this is gonna work out, but all right. I'm probably blocking it in different ways this time, but all right. So that's kind of what the beer looks like. I don't know how close I can get. It is lighter in color than Kurt's was. Off-white, light tan head. Kind of, it's more coppery than amber, I guess I'd say. Not a color expert, but that's how it comes off to me. But yeah, and it's very clear. The other thing I had to do is figure out my shirt color versus the beer that throws stuff off. I was noticing in the last video. It's very clear. I can see right through it. You can probably see my hand through it. So that's, and we all used gelatin, I believe was the recommended. So yeah, I did use gelatin to clarify this. Okay, let's get a smell here. Yeah, a lot of roastiness coming through. I would say more so than the first beer. This one is very roasty on the nose. A little bit of toffee. Yeah, those are the main things. Let me swirl it a little bit, see if I get anything else out of here. I always fill the glass too full to swirl. I'll try it again here in a second. Yeah, mostly just malt roastiness, and it's very, I would say that the aroma is pretty inviting, so I'm not mad about that. All right, well, let's take a taste and see how this is going. That's not bad. It's better than I remember. The amber malt definitely comes through because, again, that's pretty high percentage, 12.6%. I could see using less, but then the color would not have been kind of where I was shooting for. And the other thing I will say, and right or wrong, I wanted to make sure and use enough amber malt that you can really tell. I didn't want this to kind of be like, oh yeah, it's kind of a decent beer, but I don't know what the amber malt is contributing. I wanted it to be prominent enough that you can't miss it. And that part of it worked. I think, let me take another sip here. So I really do like the roasty, toasty, bready characteristics it brings. That part I really like. I think it has a nice flavor initially. The only thing I'm thinking would be a criticism that I noticed when I first made it is in the finish, it comes off as a little bit astringent. And I have to believe that's probably just from the roastiness of that malt. So the kind of primary flavor characteristics it brings, I do like that. I enjoy that. It's kind of, yeah, not really chocolatey, but it's roastier than the color would have you believe. So it's an interesting malt, and I'd never used it before. So I was kind of anxious to try it, and it seemed like, hey, just give it the name. Let's give it a shot in an amber ale. Oh, I still have a fruit fly. That's crazy. It's getting late in the year for those. So kind of the main flavor I like, the finish, the astringency in the finish is a little bit off-putting for me. So as far as evaluating this as that malt works in an amber ale, I think if you used less, it would bring some interesting characteristics to the beer. You would have to do something different to make sure that the color didn't get too light, because if I remember correctly, 10 to 17 SRM is the range for an amber ale. This is 13 and a half. I think Kurt's was more like 14, if I remember right. And if you cut this way back, since that's kind of one of the major things that's giving it its kind of, reddish, brownish, coppery color, it might not be the color that you would want. But the flavor profile it brings is pretty nice. And I think if you dialed it back to maybe more like 5%, kind of the lower end of what Simpsons recommends, you probably would lose some of that astringency, because it does have that, kind of roasty. It's not like too much roasted barley would impact the beer or anything like that, but it does have, you get that roastiness, and then just in the finish, it's just a little bit harsh. But not bad. I like it better, like I said, than I remember. I remember when I first got done making it and got done conditioning, I tried it, I'm like, wow, that's kind of a lot, but yeah, it does add a nice aroma to the beer as well. So interesting malt. I'm trying to think. It would be cool. And I've been thinking about making a California Common kind of maybe after the first of the year. My brewing schedule's kind of booked up the rest of the year. It would be interesting to try it in that, because I think it would add some interesting characteristics to California Common in low percentages. So yeah, I'm glad I tried that. It's just a little bit harsh on the finish. That's my only criticism. There's also, it brings a little bit of, yeah, I think it's mainly bready, roasty, toasty. I was about to say sweetness, but I think what I'm picking up there on that last sip as it warms up a little bit was probably from the Caramel 60. But yeah, overall, that's not a bad beer. I do like, it has that, like I said, my favorite amber probably, other than you go way back to the early days of craft beer, Fat Tire was my go-to beer. before they changed the recipe and all that. But it does have that, like Mac and Jack's, it has that little bit of roasty, like I said, not quite chocolatey, but kind of leaning that direction thing that I do like in an amber. So yeah, I would probably use it again in an amber. I would use less, and then I'd have to figure out how to maybe Cinnamar, add a little Cinnamar to get the color up. Again, in small amounts, maybe, half an ounce or something. That might be interesting to try. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. The aroma, that's why I keep smelling it. The aroma is really nice. I do like the aroma. And then, like I said, the flavor is nice until the finish, and it's just a little bit astringent. And again, I would like more hops, but we're not evaluating it for that as a beer per se. We're evaluating it from the perspective of, do we like this malt in an amber? I would say yes. If you use less and compensate for the color, I think it's going to be increasingly hard to rank these. It's already hard. I would say I'm going to put this as number 2 because I did like Kurt's beer a little bit better. But this is an interesting malt to try if you haven't tried it. Amber ale might not be the right style for them malt, but it's interesting to see what it contributed. And I am not totally mad at it. I don't know if we get another look at the color over here. The color, from that malt is actually pretty nice. It's kind of orangey, reddy, copper, a decent looking amber color for an amber ale. Maybe it could be more red brown, but it's a decent color. Hopefully it comes through, since I'm wearing like a salmon colored shirt. Hopefully it comes through on the side cam. I'll try to get that stuff mixed in there. So yeah, that's amber malt in this amber in amber. I think that's about all I need to say about this one. I'm going to rank it behind Kurt's. I think probably Cinnamar in a lower percentage is a better way to kind of, you just want to boost the color a little bit. And this in a lower percentage would be interesting to try. But like I said, I think I succeeded in putting enough in there that you can't miss it. It probably is just a little bit too much. So maybe 5 to 8% might be interesting, and see what that does to the color. And if this is, if your personal preference is you like a little bit lighter, put my hand back there so you can maybe see it better, like a little bit lighter amber ale, it would be an interesting malt to have in there. Because again, I know I'm repeating myself at this point, but the flavor that it adds is great. I really do like it. It's just a little bit harsh at the percentage, in the finish, at the percentage that I used it. So we're going to go Kurt's beer still number 1. I'm going to put mine at number 2. But yeah, I'm not going to dump it out. I will go finish this beer, and I don't know which one I'm going to do next. I haven't kind of planned out the whole gamut, but there's some interesting other malts coming up, and I'm really looking forward. Some of which I've never tried before, so this is going to be a really fun experiment. One of my favorite beers. Perfect time of year to do it. So it's all good. Brewtubers is fantastic. Check it out at brewtubers.com. And yeah, I guess I will leave it there for now, and I will see you in the next beer review. Cheers.